Let's go back to 2014 in Indianapolis, Indiana. In this lively city we find Nathan Benjamin Trapuzzano and his wife Jennifer, who were both 24 years old at the time. Nathan came from a large and close-knit family, being the fourth of 5 children. Despite being younger, his older brother greatly admired him. Nathan was a talented individual, excelling in academics, music, and sports. He even had a black belt in karate and played the piano and violin. Not only was he witty and clever, but he was also humble and kind-hearted. While attending Ball State University, Nathan pursued a degree in Latin, Greek, and classical studies. It was during this time that he met Jennifer, who was training to become a nurse. The two were inseparable, sharing the same values and strong Catholic faith. Jennifer loved Nathan's quirkiness and intelligence, always making her laugh and motivating her to achieve greatness. Eventually, the couple settled in Indianapolis, where Nathan found a job as a computer programmer at Ivy Tech Community College. Jennifer was still completing her training when they received the exciting news of their upcoming parenthood. They were thrilled to learn that they were expecting a baby girl and quickly decided on the name Cecilia Marie. Fast forward to the end of March 2014, Nathan and Jennifer were busy preparing for the upcoming milestones in their lives. With Cecilia's arrival just weeks away, they were also looking forward to celebrating their first wedding anniversary on May 11th, followed by Nathan's 25th birthday a week later. Amidst all the excitement, nothing excited Nathan more than the prospect of becoming a father. He eagerly awaited the moment he would meet his daughter. On April 1, 2014, Nathan woke up early as usual and prepared for his usual hour-long walk around the neighborhood. He made sure not to disturb Jennifer, who was still asleep, as he gathered his MP3 player, headphones, and rosary beads. At 5:50 a.m., a resident nearby heard a loud noise and witnessed Nathan collapsing on the ground, calling for help. The resident immediately called 911 and rushed outside to assist him. Nathan, only wearing his joggers and without shoes or a shirt, had his belongings scattered nearby. He had a small bullet wound in his stomach, but there was not much blood. Despite being in shock, Nathan remained conscious. Within 5 minutes, the ambulance and police arrived, but Nathan's condition quickly worsened. He was unable to speak, leaving the officers with no information, and struggled to breathe. They were able to stabilize him and rushed him to the hospital for emergency surgery. By 7 a.m., Jennifer woke up and realized that Nathan had not returned home or prepared for work. His phone remained on the kitchen table, which was normal since he did not bring valuables on his walks. Worried, she put on her coat and retraced his usual routes, trying to calm her growing anxiety while sensing that something was seriously amiss. Despite the doctor's and surgeon's best efforts, Nathan Trapuzzano, a 24-year-old, tragically passed away at 7:40 a.m. Jennifer, who was still out for a walk, turned the corner only to be met with yellow tape and a flood of police officers on the street. Concerned, she approached them and explained that her husband had gone for a walk and hadn't returned, and this incident occurred along his usual route. However, all the police could disclose was that there had been an incident. Since the victim had no identification on him, they couldn't provide Jennifer with any further information. Anxiously, she showed them a photo of Nathan on her phone, asking if it resembled the victim. The officers confirmed it was him and discreetly guided her to one of the police cars to deliver the devastating news. Jennifer, who was just 5 weeks away from her due date, would soon discover that the love of her life was no longer with her. One detective expressed that Nathan had his whole life ahead of him, having never been in trouble before and always minding his own business while engaging in a simple activity that should be safe for anyone in our community: taking a morning walk. Near the location where Nathan was found, there were shell casings that matched a .40 caliber gun, which the officers considered an uncommon size that they didn't encounter frequently. Jesse, the owner of the nearby tire shop, was familiar with Nathan and would see him pass by every day, exchanging a friendly wave. Fortunately, Jesse had installed security cameras after a recent break-in, and these cameras overlooked the parking lot where Nathan was discovered. Although the footage was grainy and blurry, it captured the entire incident. In the footage, Nathan could be seen walking down the road, followed closely by an individual who eventually broke into a run to keep up with him. In the later portion of the video, the police observed another individual joining the shooter, indicating that they were collaborating. Unfortunately, only a portion of the CCTV footage has been released for obvious reasons. At one point, it appeared that Nathan was attempting to comply by raising his hands, but the pair forced him into the parking lot and shot him. After Nathan fell, they hastily fled down the main road. The sole witness they had was the woman who dialed 911, but by the time she arrived, the perpetrators had already escaped. The situation became even more difficult when the police began questioning the residents of the area. Regrettably, they all mentioned that such incidents were not uncommon. Over time, the area had become increasingly plagued by gun violence, with numerous shootings taking place. Some even mentioned that there had been an alarming number of shootings and murders in just the past few months. One theory the police had was that it could be a gang initiation, but they believed a failed robbery attempt was a more plausible motive. Nathan's family found this even more senseless as he never carried money, cards, or his phone while walking. The footage was sent to experts who were able to slightly enhance it, enabling them to identify the shooter's attire. However, aside from that, there was not much evidence to work with.
Developing story tonight, a 24-year-old married man and soon-to-be father was gunned down early Tuesday while walking not far from his home.
And IMPD has set up this mobile command post near the scene of this crime to track down the men that they believe are responsible for this murder. And tonight, family and friends are trying to deal with this senseless crime. This surveillance video shows what people across the nation now know about 24-year-old Nathan Trapuzzano. But to think that he was simply a victim of a senseless crime would be wrong, say his family and friends.
He just seemed like one of those guys that I wanted to be like as I was going through college.
Brandon Stanley, a senior at Ball State, met Nathan 4 years ago at the university. The two men reconnected as members of Holy Rosary Church. Brandon describes his friend as having a deep faith.
When the shooting happened, he was out praying a morning rosary. So he was out doing his morning routine where he would go jogging or go walking and pray at the same time.
And then this happened. Black and white surveillance video of the last moments of his life.
A week after Nathan's tragic death, the police finally made progress in the case when they began investigating other shootings in the area that occurred around the same time. They discovered that just 18 hours after Nathan's murder, a 16-year-old named Simeon Rahim Adams, also known as Red, was admitted to the hospital in critical condition with a gunshot wound to the neck. It turned out that he had fired 3 shots at a man named Eric, who had defended himself by returning fire. Simeon's involvement in various criminal activities prior to Nathan's murder raised suspicions among the detectives. Not only was he suspected of being involved in the burglary of a gun shop where 30 firearms were stolen, but he was also caught attempting to steal a car outside a strip club just hours before Nathan was shot. The proximity of the strip club to the location of Nathan's shooting, along with the similarity in clothing between the shooter and the lookout person, further implicated Simeon. The detectives recognized the urgency of speaking with Simeon, as he was not only present at the scene of Nathan's shooting but was also facing charges for attempting to murder someone else. Additionally, the discovery that some of the stolen guns matched the casings found near Nathan's body strengthened the connection between Simeon and the crime. However, since Simeon was hospitalized, the detectives had to gather information from those close to him. As the detectives interviewed more individuals, they consistently heard the nickname Red being associated with Simeon, linking him to various incidents and crimes in the area. People who were familiar with Simeon consistently identified him in photo lineups. Simeon's cousin, Martez McGraw, agreed to cooperate with the police and confirmed Simeon's presence in the CCTV footage from outside the tire shop. Martez even admitted to being present himself during part of the morning and corroborated all of Simeon's actions. The other individual seen in the video was also identified and interviewed. After gathering all the evidence and testimonies, the police eliminated all other suspects and concluded that Simeon was the primary perpetrator in Nathan's murder. Martez informed the police that Simeon had approached Nathan and ordered him to stop. He then forced Nathan to walk between the tire shop and the strip club. Simeon commanded Nathan to remove his shirt, and when Nathan complied by raising his hands, Simeon shot him. Based on the information provided by Martez and the evidence collected, the detectives were confident that Simeon was the individual they were seeking in connection with Nathan's murder. Simeon's survival against all odds surprised the skeptical doctors, and he eventually recovered enough for the police to question him. They provided him with all the information they had, leading to his arrest as an adult for attempted murder, robbery, and carrying an unlicensed handgun. Jennifer, upon hearing about the arrest, took to Facebook to express her sadness and called for prayers for Simeon and Nathan's loved ones. Everyone agreed that Nathan would have forgiven him. Nathan's funeral was attended by hundreds, including the investigating officers who were deeply affected by his tragic fate. Jennifer later gave birth to their daughter, Cecilia Marie, bringing some much-needed joy during this dark time. As the court proceedings began, another person caught the attention. Court documents revealed that the 16-year-old had been roaming the streets freely for a month, despite facing 13 probation violations. The probation officer had visited his home multiple times, but Simeon was never there. The judge expressed extreme concern and disappointment over the mishandling of the case, leading to the probation officer's resignation. Despite being charged as an adult for a murder he committed at the age of 16, prosecutors knew it would be extremely difficult to secure a life sentence for Simeon, who was now 18. However, if found guilty by a jury, he was facing a sentence of 45 to 65 years. In 2015, just over a year after Nathan's death, Simeon Adams pleaded guilty to the murder. His legal team, friends, and family all spoke about his troubled childhood and adolescence. Losing his mother at just 13 months old, and with his father frequently in and out of prison, Simeon had been getting into trouble with the police since he was 10 years old. His uncle, who had helped raise him, admitted that while he used to get into trouble, he never thought Simeon was capable of something like this. He had always tried to guide him towards the right path and warned his friends about the consequences of their actions. It was hard for him to believe that Simeon would get involved in such a serious crime. Throughout the court proceedings, Simeon was often seen laughing as he entered and left the courtroom. Even during his sentencing, he showed little remorse. When the judge asked if he understood the impact of his actions on the Trapuzzano family, he simply replied, "No, ma'am," without saying anything else. As part of a plea deal, Simeon's potential sentence was reduced to 55 years in prison. According to Indiana law, he could be eligible for parole after serving 27 years, taking into account good behavior and time already served. If granted parole, he would be 45 years old. Additionally, he received an additional 12-year sentence for the shooting of Eric, which had initially landed him in the hospital. This 12-year sentence is to be served consecutively. Nathan's absence had a profound impact, leading to a collective effort to support Jennifer and her family. A GoFundMe campaign was initiated, which exceeded expectations by raising over $170,000. Despite the immense loss, Jennifer demonstrated remarkable strength and determination, successfully graduating from grad school with honors and embarking on a career as a physician's assistant. To honor Nathan's memory, the Nathan Trapuzzano Memorial Foundation was established with the aim of providing assistance and financial relief to children who have lost a parent. The foundation organizes the Nate Walk, a 5-kilometer walk that Nathan loved, serving as both a commemorative event and a means of fundraising. These walks occur annually in Indianapolis and Pennsylvania, with the option for virtual participation. Recognizing Nathan's connection to Ivy Tech Community College, where he worked, the college pledged to grant Cecilia a full 2-year scholarship should she choose to pursue it. Jennifer reflects on the passage of time, which seems to simultaneously stand still and fly by.